In today's video, we're going to discuss what we saw from Chelsea versus Barrow in the 5-0 victory for the Blues. We're going to speak about a few things, less tactical today, more about the players' individual performances, as there wasn't too much tactical to talk about. Very straightforward, as you'd expect it, game where Chelsea controlled proceedings. This was the team, as you can see: Jorgensen in goal, Veiga, Badiashile, Dizassi, Gusto, Casadei, Dewsbury Hall, Felix, Neto, Mudryk and Nkunku. A full changed 11, and we're going to speak about how they set up and then who performed well and in which roles they performed well.
Let's talk about the Chelsea v Barrow game. I kind of want to steer this video in a different direction than usual, not going overly into the tactics, because I think it was very sort of basic in that sense. I think it was very much what we've seen before. We had on one half, we had Gusto pushing up into this role, Veiga sort of forming a back three, Casadei almost in a solo pivot, and then you sort of had Felix and Nkunku playing in this sort of area, Gusto in that right centre mid, KDH in that left centre mid. And again, in the second half, you saw that flipped with Gusto going off, Dewsbury coming over here, and Chilwell playing in this role. So I think that's probably the only interesting or like massive tactical sort of point to really touch on. But I think it'd be more interesting in this video to speak about a few individual performances. We did control the game as expected, 71% possession, 8 big chances, 20 shots in total, of course scoring 5 goals, 3 coming from Nkunku, 1 from Pedro Neto, and then 1 for the own goal, which was the João Felix free kick. So apart from that, stat-wise, I think I sort of wanted to just talk about how the game looked and who really looked good and who we haven't really seen a lot of. So first of all, let's start with Veiga. I thought Veiga was really good. I really like the passes that he's able to make from this area of the pitch. We saw it for the first goal, zipped it into Felix. Felix then able to sort of receive the ball, play that little chip ball over the top, lovely for Nkunku. And I just love these little incisive passes from the fullback, especially, well, like the left centre-back / left-back hybrid. Can happen from the right as well. Something that Reece James can do extremely well is that pass across into the middle. And just having Veiga who can zip that ball into that area, and he's confident enough to do it, that just does in total, that helps the team. It allows the team to progress into those central areas. And when you've got players like Felix and Nkunku who love to receive it on the half turn, really secure with the ball, and they want to make things happen in that area of the pitch, that is a very good thing. And I think that those two in general were really good and really worth touching on, because I think a lot of people have been speaking about the whole Cole Palmer and Jackson. Then you got Felix and Nkunku. And I think the pairings right now are really well matched up in that sense. I think Nkunku and Felix work really well together. When Nkunku drops in, Felix can make the runs in behind. Nice little interchanges and link up. We've seen it already for those goals, especially for the first goal. And I just think that those two, they really merge well. Whereas with Jackson, you've got somebody who's going to run and really stretch the pitch in behind. Him and Cole Palmer have a little bit more chemistry on the pitch. Palmer able to then use the space that Jackson creates by making those long runs in behind and being a little bit more direct with his movement, and less likely to come into these like short areas for space and into feet, which he can still do really well, Jackson. But it gives Palmer that a little bit more freedom on the ball when he does receive it, and a little bit more space to operate. But both of them were excellent. Like I said, Felix technically with the goal, you could count it as an assist. So 2 assists or 1 goal, 1 assist, or however you want to see it. But lovely free kick off the post, off the keeper. The lovely little chipped for assist. Made 2 key passes in the game. 2 out of 2 crosses. Hit the woodwork, of course. 2 of his 4 ground duels as well. And I think he worked really hard, even when we did lose the ball. You did see him tracking into these areas to win the ball back. And then again, Nkunku, 3 goals, 3 shots on target, all 3 finished. 1 key pass, 1 big chance created, both his duels, 1 in the air, 1 on the ground. And I think those 2 were just really good. Mudryk, I think, was positive in this game. He got the assist for Neto. We'll speak about Neto at the same time, because Neto, of course, did get the goal. I think in the first half especially, they struggled a little bit to get on the ball. I think a lot of the play was sort of being funneled down these central areas, and it was a lot of little intricate sort of combinations, like Neto with the little back heel to Gusto, who then put the ball in for Nkunku's second goal. So that was a nice little link up there with him involved. But in terms of like 1v1, being able to get out their man, it was a little bit less clear in the first half. Second half, Mudryk did it a little bit more, Mudryk with 2 key passes. Again, he's a very creative passer. He does do that, and he did look a little bit more up for it. He won 5 of his 9 ground duels, which I didn't actually realise it was that high. I think that's really good from him. 2 out of 4 dribbles successful. I think Mudryk was okay. I think I'm happy with that performance for Mudryk and happy that he got an assist. Neto as well. Like he had 1 key pass, 2 out of 3 crosses, 1 out of 3 ground duels. He's not lit the world alight so far, Neto, but he's been fine and he's been effective. And he's had a few. He's now got a goal. He's had an assist for Felix on that game against Wolves. And he's settling in. And right now, for me, it is Sancho on the left, Madueke on the right. So to have Mudryk and Neto come in as the pairing for this game and put in okay performances, getting goals and assists, happy days. They've done their job there. Lastly, let's speak about Cesare Casadei, because I actually thought he was really good. And there's a lot of players in the midfield, a lot of them out on loan that are higher, like rated far higher than him. Yeah, internally at the club, you would suspect with Santos, Leslie Gachukwu, obviously then you've got Lavia, Enzo, and Casadei who are actually at the club. So it's going to be tough. But could he be a useful piece this season? I do think possibly. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves because it was only against Barrow and he still did make a few passing and touch mistakes. But he had 90% pass accuracy, 55 out of 61. He had 1 shot which was off target, 1 dribble attempt, which were 4 dribble attempts, 1 successful. So again, he just uses sort of that power and that ability to sort of squeeze through the midfield. Didn't do it as successfully, but we saw it in pre-season last year as well. He's got that capability. Only won 2 of his 10 ground duels, but he was getting around in the middle, and he won 5 of 6 aerial duels. And I think that's really the key point you want to touch on with Casadei. He also made 3 interceptions. But I think the key thing with Casadei that you really want to think about is the height that he can give you in midfield. Now, Leslie Gachukwu could have been a handy person to keep hold of in that sense, just to have that in the squad. We didn't. We got rid. Veiga does bring that. And when I say got rid, I mean Leslie Gachukwu out on loan to Southampton. Veiga does bring that, but is he going to start more from left back and invert inside? Possibly. Against Bournemouth, he started in midfield, and I do think he played well and did add that sort of height and aggression and physicality in the midfield next to Casadei that was needed that game. So that was key. But Casadei can bring that, and I think he can bring that as a 6, but even more so as an 8, where he can attack the box and get in and around the box to win headers and keep attacks alive. But to sustain pressure, to keep attacks alive, to get on the end of things if we need a goal late on, I think he can be an important piece. Maresca's already worked with him, especially just to be on the bench week in, week out. He could be worth having around, and I think that's worth mentioning. So, Casadei, worth being in the squad. Let me know what you thought of his performance, and also let me know what you thought of every other player's performance. Like I said, this little duo here. What did you think of the wingers? KDH was slightly quiet, but again, I think he's just at that point now. I think he's just going to be a squad player, and I do think he's going to come in handy at some point or another, like I said in the preview. But let me know what you think of KDH and his performance. Let me know what you thought of Casadei. Let me know what you thought of the back 4.
Let me know your thoughts on the game down below. Who was your man of the match? There'll be a Brighton preview out tomorrow, so let me know what your team would be for that as well in tomorrow's video in the comment section down below. Drop a like on all the videos, including this one. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys for the Brighton preview tomorrow.